See, next question is a man travels 600 km partly by train and partly by car. It takes 8 hours and 40 minutes if he travels 320 km by train and the rest by car. It would take 30 minutes more if he travels 200 km by train and the rest by car. Find the speed of the train and car separately. So the meaning of the question is total the distance a man has to travel is 600. But due to some reason he is supposed to travel this 600 distance by using train and car. That means out of 600 he travels some distance by train and the remaining distance by car. Suppose if he travels 320 km by train and the remaining distance by car, it will take 8 hours and 40 minutes for the total journey. And suppose if he travels 200 km by train and the remaining, that means out of 600, 200 by train and the remaining is 400, no, 400 by car, then it will take 30 minutes more than that of the first time. First time is 8 hours and 40 minutes. Now it will take 8 hours and 40 plus this 30, 70 minutes. 30 minutes than 30 minutes more than that of the first time. First time is 8 hours and 40 minutes. Now it will take 30 minutes more than that of the first time. That means 8 hours and 70 minutes it will take if he travels 200 by train and the remaining by car. So two cases are there, and the essence of the question is find the speed of the train and the car separately. Here how many unknowns are there? Two unknowns, speed of the train and speed of the car. Is there any relationship between that two unknowns? No, obviously there is no relationship. So it will go under linear equation two variable, and so let us try to solve that. As you know, the meaning in the question is find the speed of train and car separately. So I'm going to let speed of train as x kilometer per hour, speed of car as y kilometer per hour. And as you know, two cases are there, isn't it? First case and second case. What this first case means? First case means he out of 600 he has to travel some distance 320 km by train and the remaining by car. That is the first case, isn't it? That means suppose he is starting from A, he has to reach at B. And what is the distance between A and B? That is 600 kilometers the distance between A and B. And he started the journey, and he started the journey by using train, isn't it? And train speed is x, so the train is using a speed x. And first 320 kilometer, you can read the question, it is mentioned there. First 320 kilometer out of 600 he traveled by train and he reached some P railway station. And when he reached at P, he came out from the train and he is using a taxi, now a car. He took a car and he has to travel the remaining distance. That means what is the remaining distance? 280, no? Yes, 280 kilometer remaining, because out of 600 320 kilometers over, then 280 is the remaining distance. 280 kilometer he is using a car. Okay, are you following me? Okay, understood. And the total time for the journey, total time, that means altogether the total time is given that 8 hours and 40 minutes. So there is a problem, it is not in hour, but it is already in hour, so no problem. Here it is not in hour, so just divide by 60 and make make the total time in hours. 8 plus 4 by 6 is equal to 8 plus 2 by 3. When cross multiply, it becomes 8 into 3, 824 plus 226 by 3 hours is the total time in the first case. And in the second case, is there any difference in places and distance? No, A to B is the same place and the same distance is 600 kilometer. But here the problem is out of this 600 kilometer, out of this 600 kilometer, he used this train to travel the first 200 kilometer only. First 200 kilometer here. In this case, out of 600 he traveled 200 kilometer by using train, and he reached at some railway station E, and he came out from the train and he using a taxi now, and train speed is x and taxi speed is y. We already mentioned that above. and now he's going to travel the remaining distance by using this car, and the remaining distance in the sense 400. Out of 600, 200 he used train, and the remaining 400 he has to use what, taxi. And the total time is given. Total time is given that given in this way, what, 30 minutes more than the first time. What is 30 minutes more than the first time means 26 by 3. 26 by 3, but this is in minutes. This is already in hours, we already converted that. So this 30 you have to convert into hours. Just divide by 60 and 26 by 3 as it is. So it become 1 by 2 plus 26 by 3, I think, isn't it? Yes. Then if you want, you can cross multiply 3 plus 52 by 6. It become 55 by 6 hours is the total time. 55 by 6 hours. You are following me, I think. Understood? See? Isn't it? First case, it is very clear, and the second case, it is also very clear in front of you. Okay, so let us form equation. So it is given in terms of time. So let us form an equation in first case. Can I write in sentence that total time? How we will get the total time? How we will get the total time? It is very clear. Total time is nothing but time taken by train or time taken, yes, I'm using by, time taken by train plus time taken by car. It will give you the total time of the journey, and total time in the first case is 26 by 3. And how you can calculate the time taken by train? You know the formula, what, speed is equal to distance by time. Then obviously time is equal to distance by speed. See, speed is equal to distance by time, then time is equal to distance by speed. So time taken by train, the formula is distance by speed. What is the distance traveled by the in train in the first case? 320. Distance divided by speed. What is the speed of the train? X. Plus time taken by the car. Again the formula is distance by speed. What is the distance traveled by the car? In first case 280. Its speed by y. So it will give you the first equation, 320 by x plus 280 by y is equal to 26 by 3. It is the first equation. And similarly in the second case, tell me total time. What is the second case total time? 55 by 6. Total time is equal to time in train. Formula distance by speed plus time in car, 400 by distance by speed. See, it will give you the second equation. First and second equation, we got first and, out of 4 mark, if you write this much, you will get nicely, you will get 2.5 or 3 mark, because this is the essence of the problem, and the remaining is just solving. Okay, so we got two equations. First equation is 26 by 3 is equal to 320 by x plus 280 by y, and second equation is 55 by 6 is equal to 200 by x plus 400 by y. It was the first equation and it was the second equation, and you just see the first equation. Can you simplify the first equation? See, you can simplify the first equation by, I am going to divide throughout by 2. So it becomes 13 by, I am going to divide throughout by 2 in the sense, numerator only you can divide by 2. Denominator you have to remain as it is. So when you divide throughout by 2, it becomes 13 by 3 is equal to 160, isn't it? Yes. By x plus 140 by y. See, the first equation changes into a more simplified form. So let it be your new equation, third equation. And see, second equation also I think you can simplify. I think by 5 it is possible. So when you divide throughout by 5, it become 11 by 6 is equal to, isn't it, 40 by x plus 80 by y. And see, it is your fourth equation, new equation. We simplified because a common factor came in both equations. We used to divide by using that common factor. First equation just divide throughout by 2, you numerator only you can divide. Second equation just divide throughout by 5, numerator only you can divide. Okay, so then let us go for substitution. What is the need of substitution? Because variable came in the denominator, so substitution is needed. So let some p is equal to 1 by x and q is equal to 1 by y. Substitute here, so it becomes 13 by 3 is equal to what, 160 p, isn't it, plus 140 q, 140 q, and the next equation becomes 11 by 6 is equal to 40 p plus 80 q, 80 q. You know one thing here, we are using elimination method now. Same, here the coefficient of p is 160, here the coefficient of p is 40. If I multiply here this equation with the 4, then I will get the coefficient of p as 160 here, isn't it? I have to make the coefficient of p as same. Here the coefficient of p is 160, here coefficient of p is 40. If I multiply this equation throughout by 4, it become 160. Then coefficient of p become equal now. So first equation as it is, 13 by 3 is equal to 160 p plus 140 q. And the next equation is, when I multiply by 4, I am going to multiply by 4. So if I multiply by 4, it become 4 into 11 by 6 is equal to 160 p plus, when I multiply with 4, 320 q, isn't it? You can cancel this 4 and 6 to 3 will come. So once again the first equations become 13 by 3 is equal to 160 p plus 140 q. And the next is 22 by 3 is equal to 160 p plus 320 q, isn't it? Then you see, you just subtract. Okay, I'm going to subtract this equation and this equation. When you subtract, left side become 13 by 3 minus 22 by 3. It will get cancelled, that is a benefit. And here 140 q minus 320 q. These two terms will get cancelled now when you subtract. So it become, denominator is same, just write that. Minus 9 is equal to, right side become minus 180 q. This minus and minus will cancel. Here answer is 3 is equal to 180 q. So q will be 3 by 180. It means when you cancel 1 by 60, we got the value of q as 1 by 60. Keep it there. Then we have to find out the value of p also. So we got the value of q as 1 by 60. Just substitute this value of 1 by 60 in any one of the equation. So I am going to choose this equation, 13 by 3 is equal to 160 p plus 140 q. In that equation I am going to substitute the value of q. So it becomes 13 by 3 is equal to 160 p plus 140 into q. Q value is 1 by 60. You may following me. And then just find out the value of p from this equation. So after a simplification, we will get 13 by 3 is equal to 160 p plus 7 by 3. Simplification is already mentioned here. So 160 p is equal to 13 by 3 minus 7 by 3. So 160 p is equal to, denominator is 3. Same, 13 minus 7. What is 13 minus 7? 6, no? Okay. So 160 p is equal to 6 by 3 is 2. So the value of p become 2 by 160, or it is 1 by 80. So we got the value of p also. So we have to try find out the x and y actually. Now we got the value of p and q. Then by resubstitution we will get the value of x and y. So we got the value of p as 1 by 80 and q was 1 by 60. What was p? What was p actually? Okay, so p was 1 by x. So 1 by x is equal to 1 by 80. Q was 1 by y. 1 by y is equal to 1 by 60. So when you cross multiply, you will get 80 is equal to x. Then when you cross multiply, you will get y is equal to 60. That means speed of the train is 80 km per hour and speed of the car is 60 km per hour. See, so few things you have to listen. That means I'm explaining by using sufficient steps. That doesn't mean you have to write all the steps I written in the proof. That doesn't mean like that. You can make short of the steps. That doesn't mean you can refuse all the steps and go for the direct answer. Don't misunderstand like that. You have to write sufficient steps. That doesn't mean once again repeating. That doesn't mean you have to go through all the steps. Okay, you can reduce the number of the steps, but at the same time you have to maintain proper steps. Okay, and maybe while teacher was teaching you, maybe she applied some more shortcut method, or she given more standard method, so you can follow that method, same method. I'm just explaining the same question once again, because I told you there is a slight relationship between this quadratic and linear equation two variable. That's why I explained this question, because I am the man who taught you the chapter quadratic equation. That's why I explained this question once again. So in this is the way how to relate a quadratic equation question, and how to distinguish a linear equation two variable question from quadratic. So you just learn properly, as I told you. Just write sufficient steps only, and I think I explained all the steps well. You may understood it, and you just get ready for the exam. Thank you.